All right. What is up, everybody? Divine Hood here, coming at you with another daily update on Bitcoin and the crypto markets. Okay, guys. So, over the weekend, we've seen Bitcoin get a little bit of a rise up to the key resistance that we looked at on Friday's live stream. This resistance box here, really around 111K, 111 to about 111.7, is our key back test of many different confluences of resistance. We've got a golden pocket here, a local golden pocket. We have the value area low of our 2 3 month long range that we've been in. We had a naked weekly POC here, and we have the bearish backtest of the bullish pitchfork that we broke down from last week. So this area for me is a crucial area for Bitcoin to reclaim if we want to see higher prices to come. First area of business we were looking at on Friday's live stream. Let me zoom into the 1 hour chart. And on Friday's live stream, we were below 107K, and we were really coming down, making new lows on the chart, at least on the Coinbase chart. And I implied on Friday that it was imperative that we reclaim 107.3K, our anchored VWAP, before the weekly candle closed. And if we did recover 107.3K before the weekly candle closed, we do have some hope of the overall macro bullish trend continuing. We were able to reclaim it, even though you can see here for most of the weekend, we kind of chopped around right underneath it. We formed kind of this triangle in here, this triangle pattern in here where we just consolidated and squeezed, which is a low volume weekend price action. But we were able to bust above it really Sunday morning here and really flip that anchored VWAP to support, coming down to a local golden pocket, pulled up. If we just do this golden pocket real quick from the lows to the highs, you can see we came down, not quite hit the golden pocket, but came down to that golden pocket area, and we're now pushing up to our key resistance. This back test, now that we've reclaimed 107.3, this is the next crucial area, because if we do reject this, and I do have to say, this push up that we've seen so far is kind of a weak push up here. And if we form a range in here for over the next couple days and start to lose it, and especially lose 107K again, then I do think a deeper drop is inevitable. We are seeing slight bear divs here, higher highs in the price action, just barely, lower highs in the momentum waves, both on NAMI and Market Cipher B. And our money flow, ever since we hit up into our 111K resistance, is draining out on NAMI and on Market Cipher B here. So it's not looking the strongest for Bitcoin, but we are not dropping. We're kind of just ranging around our resistance. And in some aspects, that could be considered bullish, but the oscillators are showing a little bit of some bearish signs here. So I think the market is still pretty uncertain about what happened last week with the possible trade war that's starting. Also, today there was some internet shutdowns that could cause, you know, low volatility price action today. But we're just chopping around our key resistance area. Now, if we can reclaim, let me zoom out to the 4 hour time frame. If we can reclaim this key area of resistance, being that naked weekly point of control, which by the way has been hit now. Let me go ahead and turn that on. Actually, I think I deleted it, because if we look at that naked weekly point of control that was coming in right in this area, you can see that the naked weekly point of control has now been hit. The one for this week is pretty much in the same area. And we are rejecting, we're finding resistance, at least at the retest of the value area low, at the bearish backtest of the pitchfork. It's also the local golden pocket. If you pull a golden pocket from the dead cat bounce highs down to the lows that we made on Friday, you can see golden pocket is coming in right there as well. So very key resistance. If we start to reject this, I am going to be looking for lower targets. Now, on our Friday's live stream, I was talking about if we did reclaim 107K, that I would look for long. And based off of some of the 4 hour bull divs, we were seeing lower lows in the price action. We were seeing higher lows in the momentum waves, both on NAMI and Market Cipher B. But also on NAMI, we also saw those very key bullish divs on the money flow. And anytime we see this setup with both Market Cipher B and NAMI, where you have bull divs on momentum waves on both indicators, and bull divs on the money flow on NAMI, since it does have a quicker money flow, that is a good confirmation for me to enter a trade. So I did go ahead and enter the trade once we reclaimed pretty much right at 107.3K. And we are up at, I said the first take profit level would be this area, this box right up here, right at 111K. We are getting up to that box now. And depending on what happens here, if we do get back inside the volume profile, I will add to the trade and look to take some profit up at the next. So we have a couple resistances above, and I talked about these on Friday's live stream, but we have the key resistance around 117.6 to about 118K, 118.2, which is our overall macro golden pocket and the 3-month long range point of control. And then we have above that, even we have at 121K, we have another key resistance up here. We'll talk about this resistance if we get up there, 786, and it's your naked weekly point of control. But in the meantime, we do have a couple areas before that that I am seeing that now are looking pretty nice for resistance. And if we go ahead and pull that same fib from the highs of the dead cat bounce, let me just grab that, to the lows, and we turn on our 886, excuse me, 886 Fibonacci, you can see, and let me make that a different color so you can see that better, at about 114,600, 114,650. We have a lot of key resistance lining up here, and it's a zone because we also have a daily that's just above that, a daily that has been confirmed at 115,270. So we have 3 key anchored VWAPs here. We have our anchored VWAP from the current all-time high. We have our anchored VWAP from the previous all-time high. And we have our anchored VWAP from those key 107K lows. 107K lows. All coming in at the exact same area of volume resistance here, as well as the pitchfork band. So we do know that in pitchfork trading, if we can find reacceptance back within our pitchfork, we have a very high probability of moving up to the next pitchfork resistance, which is the lower band of the pitchfork. We have the key anchored VWAPs there, and we have a daily level there, along with an 886 Fibonacci. So for me, that is going to be in a resistance that I will be paying attention to. It's not the strongest resistance, and I do think if we reclaim our value area low and reclaim our pitchfork, that we do have a high probability of continuing up to the point of control at 117.6. But what I would be looking at then in that case is a small rejection from around 115.2 where your daily is down to about those anchored VWAPs at 114,300-ish. And this area, what I would be looking for, if we get back inside of the volume profile and the pitchfork, a bounce up to that area, maybe a rejection from that daily 886 area, just to come back down to backtest either the bottom of the pitchfork or to backtest that value area low. And then I would want to see a push up to that point of control at 117.5. And so this is what I'll be looking for, a potential scalp short opportunity from this purple box that I just laid out here between 115.2 and 114.3. And then I would look to take profit, at least 75% profit if we came down to that value area low around 111K. Now you can see the value area low has shifted a little bit with the amount of price action underneath that value area low that occurred over the weekend and Friday. The value area low is actually shifted down from 111K to about 110.8K. So it can drop a little bit lower than that, but that's that general areas where I'll be looking to, if we can reclaim it, looking to take profits on shorts and also look potentially to add to a long position. But other than that, Bitcoin had a slow weekend. We did rise up in kind of a, let's zoom in onto the 1 hour, a concerning way because this does not look impulsive to me, this push up that we're seeing so far. And it honestly looks like a series of 3-wave corrective moves. If we look at this first initial, that's a 3-wave corrective move. And then we kind of have a triangle in here, which could be your, this could be a WX. And then this last push up could be a Y wave here, which is an impulse, a 5-wave impulse within your Y, or within the C. And now we could be about to dump down again. So I am aware that this is the area where we reject, and our VWAP has been holding us all day. So we are just actually reset the VWAP. It's the daily close was 4 minutes ago. So VWAP is pretty much in the same area it was because price action was pretty much in the same area as the VWAP. But if we start to lose this VWAP, we could see at least a decent drop. And if we pull a golden pocket from the lows on Friday to the highs that we made today, this golden pocket coming in right underneath our anchored VWAP. If we lose this golden pocket, then I will look for probably new lows to come in on the chart. So between like 107,000 to about 106.4 is a local support level that we could look for a bounce if Bitcoin is actually going to recover and get back inside this volume profile. Other than that, if we look at our liquidation heat map, let's go to the last week of price action. You can see that we do have a little liquidity resting right above us still, actually coming up into about 113K, and a little bit of liquidity coming up into that 115K area, which was a key area that I just laid out for you guys, being that daily level, that pitchfork band, and that 886 along with all the anchored VWAPs. So we do have liquidity resting above. If we look at our Model 2 heat map, and we just look at the last 24 hours, you can see as well that liquidity is resting up right above the highs from today. A lot of people looks like have been shorting. Actually, let's go on to our CVD and open interest. Let me refresh this to make sure this is right on. And let's zoom out to the 15-minute chart here. Yeah, I would say we do have a lot of new positions opening. And we're not really getting a clear edge as far as our CVD divergences, because even though we have a lot of longs opening from, or it's a mixture of short and longs. Let me say that, because you can see we have some shorts coming in. Overall, our open interest is increasing. Specifically today, you can see open interest has been increasing throughout the day, but our CVD is really flat in here. So it's a mixture of shorts and longs. And of course, we're going to expect some shorts to come in at resistance. And then also we're seeing, like always, people long late, long the top late. So that could be some fuel to bring us down, but we're not really seeing any significant divergences as far as CVD divergences go. Kind of neutral here, I would say. Other than that, guys, there's really not too much to talk about. Bitcoin is at a key level, a key backtest. This is a bearish backtest since we lost the level last Friday. We are coming up for the bearish backtest. If we do reject on this bearish backtest, we can probably expect new lows to come in on the charts. We do have some key levels below Friday's low, some interesting levels. We have a naked daily point of control. Now, this naked daily point of control, I believe, is a new one from this weekend at 105.5. That's a new naked daily point of control from this weekend. And I believe that is where our 786 is as well. Yeah, 786 naked daily point of control. So that could be also another little scalp long opportunity in here. But if we lose the golden pocket, just be careful, because this might not hold at all. We might just continue impulsing down here. But you can see down below us, down below Friday's low, we do have a naked daily point of control at 101,250 and a daily level pretty much at 101K. So around that 101K, we could see a small bounce from that area just to come up and back test and continue pushing down. But on the more macro aspect of things, if we do lose and reject this 111K resistance that we're at right now, I expect the downtrend to continue on Bitcoin. The overall sentiment would be, the overall thought process on that would be, is that we had been ranging for a couple months in this upper range. Bitcoin rejected, lost that range, made new lows on the chart, taking out the range lows. And on the bearish backtest, we're rejecting, so you would expect the bearish trend to continue. So I'll be keeping an eye out for that over the next couple of days, hours, days. If you guys do want my thoughts on that, you can join the Telegram. Speaking of that Telegram, I have a couple partners of the channel. The main partner of the channel is BYDFI. They are a VPN and KYC free exchange. All you need is an email and a password to sign up. If you do sign up using my affiliate link, you will get a minimum of 20% discounts on trading fees. You can earn up to $8,100 in futures trading bonuses, depending on how much volume you move in the futures markets. and they're offering some really, really great initial deposit bonuses here. If you deposit just $100, you can get a 50% deposit bonus, and then they're offering various 10 to 20% deposit bonuses based on how much you deposit. Also, they are giving higher discounts on trading fees the more you deposit. And I have partnered with BYDFI to create a Telegram community. I do post my market analysis and some trade setups in that Telegram community. It's free to join. All you need to do is sign up with BYDFI using my affiliate link and deposit at least $100, and you can get access to that Telegram group. That $100 is your money to trade with. You will get the discounts on the trading fees. You will get the bonus. And once you do that, go into the description of this video, click on the Telegram link. Once you're there, type in /verify and then your user ID, which will be right up here, and that'll get you access to that Telegram community. Other than that, the other sponsors of the channel, the other partners of the channel are NAMI Trading. NAMI is a momentum and money flow indicator down here, the second one down here. I use it for entry and exit confirmations on my trades. Really, really great indicator on letting you know when to enter and when to exit trades, especially like right now as we were coming up to this resistance. We already knew this was a take profit area, but now as we zoom in on the 1 hour chart, we can confirm bear divs here on the indicators well with money flow draining out, about to cross over into the red, and that can give you more of a confirmation to exit that long position or at least take more profit than you normally would and maybe even look for a hedge short position. So if you're interested in NAMI, the link is in the description. They're also partnered with the channel to do a 50% off discount code. Divine50 is that discount code. That discount code might not be around forever. So if you're interested in purchasing NAMI, I suggest you do it while that discount code is still available. The third and fourth partners of the channel are Bybit and MEXC. Both really great reputable exchanges with low fees, both offering futures trading bonuses depending on how much you trade in the futures markets and discounts on trading fees. If you would like to sign up with either of those exchanges, the links are in the description as well for those exchanges. Okay, on to Ethereum here. Ethereum, we did get that bounce on Friday from the 786. There was also a naked weekly point of control down there. We had marked out that naked weekly point of control, so we bounced from our naked weekly point of control in our 786 Fibonacci, pulled from the lows that was made on during the crash to the dead cat bounce highs here, and we are just kind of chopping within a range. We're now starting to form a range after that crash, so we can pull that volume profile from that crash on, and you can see that we did reject earlier today the value area high of that range, and now we are even attempting to lose the POC of that range. So if we do look at losing the POC of that range, we can expect to move down towards the value area low of the range, or at least towards the bottom of the pitchfork band, not the bottom, the top of the pitchfork band, around 3785-ish, 3786, 3785. So that is an area that I'm going to be looking at for a potential scalp long opportunity. And if we pull our Fibonacci golden pocket from the lows of Friday's move to the highs that we made today, you can see our golden pocket 786 is really coming in between that pitchfork band. But for me, the 786 near the value area low would be an area of interest to look for a potential scalp opportunity. No daily levels in this area. And what I would like to say about Ethereum, let me go ahead and delete some of this small local TA here real quick. Ethereum, I am still more macro bullish on, but when we came down here and hit our key $3,500 level of support, being the bullish backtest of a 4-year long range breakout, we did not hit the weekly level that was just below it at 34.97, and we did not hit a naked daily point of control that was pretty much at 34.89, 34.90-ish. So I do think that it is a possibility that we could come down and make a double bottom, taking out the crash lows, the liquidity of the crash lows into that weekly and into that naked daily, and then see that final fifth wave pushing up, potentially even to 6K or higher. So if we come down there, I will be looking for an SFP long of the crash lows into that weekly level. Other than that, Ethereum's been kind of boring as well. We've just had a lot of kind of chop and low volume rise over the weekend. If we actually turn on our volume here and let's zoom in onto the 1 hour chart, you can see that as we've been rising since Friday's lows, as we've been rising in price here, the volume is kind of getting lower and lower and lower here. And this to me is a sign of a corrective move before we could get another flush down here, at least to the bottom of our range, to that 786 in value area low. So for me, two local areas is going to be that 786 value area low. Let's pull that one more time here. At around 36.78. And you can see we also do have that liquidity. Excuse me, not that one. Let me do wrong Fibonacci pull. From Friday's low to today's high, around 37.61, 37.62. And your value area low of your local range. So local scalp opportunity for me around 37.61 to about 37.50-ish. Possible scalp long position. And then the larger and more interesting long position for me would be a confirmed swing failure pattern of 35.10, which was the Coinbase lows from that crash last couple Fridays ago. With this price action that we're seeing on Ethereum, we are rejecting the larger range. If we zoom out here onto the 6-hour chart, similar to Bitcoin, we had lost a range that we had been in for a couple months now, and this range was at the top of a macro pitchfork. We were expecting a drop down to that $3,500 area. Now, with us backtesting bearishly the POC and the value area low of the range and seeing that rejection Thursday and Friday, we could be forming a range down below our prior range before continuing distribution to the downside. Because if you guys remember on the live stream on Friday, when we looked at the daily time frame, let me go ahead and clean this chart up. When we looked at the daily time frame, we were showing how as this upper range was forming here, we've been forming the bearish divergences with money flow draining out of the asset as the range forms, and this being a sign of possible distribution, a distribution range to the downside. So I do think there is a possibility that we might be able to continue distributing down. And if we do hit that $3,200 golden pocket, it would invalidate our larger impulse. If you guys want more in-depth analysis on that, go check out Friday's live stream. I went very into depth on that. But for now, we're going to move on to Solana here. On Solana, let's zoom into the hourly chart. We are just kind of bouncing from our level of support as well. Now, on Friday's live stream, we were coming down into this area, and we made it sort of a double bottom here, but we did not take the liquidity of the crash lows. We've got so close to it, though, that I suspect that we are going to continue rolling back down here and take that liquidity before seeing a real pushback up on Solana. We rejected the pitchfork midline. 3-wave move down so far, and this could be your wave 4. And then we could see one more wave 5 down. So we could see this impulse to the downside continue. If we pull a Fibonacci from the highs of wave 3 to the lows of wave 3, we turn on our wave 4 targets. You can see that we are in that general target area for a wave 4 between the 382 and the 0.5. Now, if you hit the golden pocket, it's going to invalidate, and that golden pocket is at 195.67 on Coinbase. So if we hit that, that'll invalidate a 5-wave impulse to the downside. And even if we retrace, so we would expect a 3-wave move. Even if we reject here, we would retrace. I would expect a higher low to come in before pushing back up. And we might just see the double bottom here without taking the liquidity. Oftentimes, though, that liquidity will get taken when you get so close to taking the liquidity of the crash lows, but you front run it. Oftentimes, we will come back down there. So I'm going to be watching for an SFP of 172.78. If we get that SFP of the crash lows as well as the semi-equal lows that from last Friday, I will look for long from that area. And if we hit the golden pocket at 196, let's say, at 196, Then we can look at pulling our Fibonacci's from the lows of Friday to the highs that we created today. And the golden pocket coming in right around 182 would be an interesting level for me because that is our pitchfork band of support. And you can see we're kind of forming that range that you often form around these pitchfork bands. So if we come down to the bottom of the pitchfork band and our local golden pocket and we bounce, now this would be only after hitting after hitting 196. If we come down here, I would look for a long opportunity and bring it up to at least our value area high of our macro range around 201. That value area high is of a range that goes back. Let me just get rid of some of this local TA now. That is of a range that goes back to March of 2024. You can see that range is coming in right around 201. And now that we found reacceptance back with inside this volume profile, there is a probability, a greater probability we could move down to $145 where the point of control is. But if you guys want more in-depth analysis on Solana as well, also looking around 165 to 160 for a potential bounce on Solana based off the pitchwork levels. Covered that in depth on Friday's live stream, so go tune into that if you want to see that. But for now, we are just kind of chopping around, forming a range inside of our larger volume profile. And that to me is a bit concerning. Seeing this range form back inside your volume profile shows you could be finding reacceptance back within that volume profile and maybe even come fill it in full before seeing a bigger push up. Let's go to, actually, while we're here on the daily time frame, we can also mark out that daily level that was at 182. Okay. And then if we go back into the 2 hour chart and we pull that local golden pocket again, you can see that local golden pocket is going to be right aligned with that daily and right aligned with the bottom of the pitchfork band. So for me, this is a local support that I would be willing to look for a scalp long from if we have bull divs coming down to that area. So we'd have to look for low time frame bull divs, like 15-minute and under, if you're creating bull divs here on the 15-minute and under. Now, you probably won't have time on the hourly or 2 hourly. You might see some on the hourly. If we get back above 201, then I will say that Solana is looking bullish and we could continue pushing back up to that 221 to 228 level of resistance where we have a bunch of levels. We have a weekly, let's see what was up there. We had a daily level up there, naked weekly point of control. Golden pocket. Let's pull that golden pocket. Yeah, golden pocket. We had a range point of control. So that would be the area that I would be looking at coming up to if we can break above 201. Other than that, I'm just going to be playing the range of Solana that's formed since 2 weeks ago, the lows of Saturday, October 11th. And you can see the value area high of this local range is going to be right around the large range value area high as well. Now, if we do come up there, we would be hitting that golden pocket, which would suggest that this is a 3-wave corrective move down. And even if we reject from that area, I will be looking for a higher low to continue pushing up. If we look at our naked weekly points of controls here on Solana, you can see just above us at that 196 level, we do have that naked weekly point of control that's at our local golden pocket. Let's mark that out for you real quick so you can see that. That's your wave 3 highs. So from your wave 3 highs to your wave 3 lows. If you hit this golden pocket, yes, you might see a rejection here because we also have a naked weekly point of control here. But it would invalidate this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we would be looking for a higher low before coming higher. But that's about it for Solana, just kind of ranging. The market is still settling from what happened a couple weeks ago. With Sui, Sui is just ranging within our pitchfork band. And I talk about this often on the channels. Around these pitchfork bands, you get ranges that form. And we're forming a range around our upper pitchfork band here. After dropping and bouncing from the midline of the pitchfork during that mega crash that happened. And we are also around the value area low of our range. Let's zoom out onto the 8-hour chart here. And we can look at our macro range that goes back to November of 2024, so almost a year long now. Now, I will say this. After crashing and bouncing from the pitchfork midline, we had a 3-wave corrective move and a dead cat bounce. And now we could be in an impulse down again here to take out those lows from the crash. You can see we have come up over the weekend after making a low on Friday. We have come up over the weekend to backtest the value area low and the pitchfork band. If we reject here, I expect us to continue pushing down to take out those crash lows, to see a sort of double bottom of those crash lows. We did bounce from our local golden pocket area, which was a nice thing to see after we had such an aggressive wick on Sui that we did bounce from our golden pocket area, and we're pushing up nicely from that. So that would have been a nice scalp long opportunity if you longed the reclaim of the golden pocket at 235 just to take profit at 265. Very nice area, but we are at local resistance right now. And this is actually, even though it's a local resistance, it's a very, very important resistance, being that bearish backtest of the value area low of our year-long range in confluence with the bearish pitchfork band. And if we reject here, I expect more downside. If we can reclaim that area of resistance that we're at right now, really reclaiming like 267, then I would expect us to push up to the top of the pitchfork where you can see we have a key anchor VWAP around 320, 321 to 325. And if we pull a golden pocket from the crash lows to the crash highs, crash highs to the crash lows, and you look at that 786, that 786 is going to be right around there. It's really in between your 786 and golden pocket, and you could even pull it up to your next key high there, and you can see we do have a golden pocket in that area, and it's also a pretty important support resistance flip. If we just look at this general area, oh, don't want to do that. General support resistance flip in here, you can see it was support, support, support. So now if we come up to that, it could be a resistance as well. 322 to 328. Money flow on the 8-hour is starting to come out again on Market Cipher B. If we look at the 4-hour time frame, money flow does still look good, and we did confirm those bull divs at the golden pocket. You can see, actually not bull divs because it wasn't a lower low, but a nice trigger wave at the golden pocket, money flow rising to the upside. Now, NAMI does have a bit quicker of money flow, and you can see the money flow has been draining out now on NAMI, but we did print a hidden bull div just earlier today. So there is a possibility that we just drop here to the bottom of the band again, just like we did earlier today, hold it, and then start to reclaim it. I am not going to be looking for any longs on Sui. If you missed the golden pocket long earlier on Friday, then you kind of have to wait here because this is a very key resistance. You don't want to long into this resistance here. But if you do reclaim and backtest, you get back inside the volume profile, and then you backtest that general value area low in the top of the pitchfork band, you could be looking for a long from that area to bring up to that 321 to 328 area. And then if you break that, you do have your 345 to 353 naked weekly point of control, the range point of control, and a daily level up there. But that's about it for SUI. You could also, if you're scalping, play the range. Just pull a range from right after that crash ended, and you could look at this range here. So we are back inside the volume profile of this small range, and very, very locally, let's zoom in onto the 1 hour chart. Very locally, our value area low is going to be coming in at the bottom of the pitchfork band at 252, really. 251, 252. Might be a nice little opportunity to long this. Um, I personally am not longing because we are at macro resistance at the 267. So for me, that's not a good enough position. Not It's not an optimal trade for me. Now, if you wanted to, you could look at very low time frame scalping, taking out Sunday's lows, which is a weekend low, SFP of Sunday's lows. After you SFP that low, as soon as you reclaim it, you could look for the long. Your stop would obviously go right below that low, and you could be looking to take it up to take out today's highs, and that's still a decent scalp trade. 6 to 1 risk reward ratio. Not the best place to look for a scalp long at more macro resistance. But anyways, on to say it's just ranging as well. You can see we are in a big range. If we zoom out onto the daily time frame, say is now getting stuck underneath our pitchfork midline. And if we can reclaim this pitchfork midline coming in around 20.4 to 20.5, I do think say could have a significant rise on it. Potentially even up to 28, 29 cents. But say over the weekend on Friday, Friday, we did lose the pitchfork midline again. And you can see since Friday's lows here, we have just been chopping around underneath the pitchfork midline. It was acting as support through here, and now support even here. You can see all those wicks. And now that we've lost it, it is going to be a resistance. So if we do come up to that area and reject, then I would expect us to probably continue pushing down to take out the crash lows, the liquidity of the crash lows coming in here at 17.18, and potentially even coming down to your lower pitchfork band around 14 cents. Just very, very locally that we have this range that's formed since Friday's lows. We are above the value area high of the range, and you can see on the breakout earlier today, really Sunday night, we broke out, we back tested that value area high, and we're remaining above the value area high. So we might be able to continue here locally until we actually push up to hit that midline, because we have not hit the midline yet. And once we hit that midline, that could tell you everything you need to know for say. I'm not interested in trading this. If you want to look at trading that, you can even pull a range from the crash lows onwards, and you could trade this range as well. If you pull a golden pocket from the highs of the range to the lows, you can see that your golden pocket is coming in right around that value area high. And so this could be a potential scalp resistance to be looking at. Value area high, golden pocket, between 21.8 and 22 cents. Ooh, this should be purple. And I believe there was a naked daily point of control there. Okay, yeah, it's been hit. So, other than that, I'm not too interested in anything on say get above 24 to 24.5. We might be able to move up to 20.45. We might be able to get up to 22 cents. Okay, on to XRP. XRP very similarly is just ranging. After seeing the massive crash, we're in a range. Let me zoom out onto the daily time frame. So for XRP, we're still chopping around our macro POC. And this macro POC is about a year long now. You can see it goes back to December, so maybe 10 months, 10 and a half months here. But we are underneath the key 2 anchored VWAPs. Let me delete this little range real quick. You can see we are underneath our 2 anchored VWAPs. Anchored VWAP from the all-time high, or from our previous all-time high, and an anchored VWAP from the range low. If we're looking at this as a 10-month long range. Also, we can pull an anchored VWAP from the current all-time high. Okay, that one's going to be at our next resistance box. Now, in order to get up to this resistance box, we need to flip these two anchored VWAPs coming in around 260 to 262 into support. If we can get above that, I expect to move up to that weekly level around 297. You can see that weekly level has a range point of control and it has our anchor VWAP from the all-time high. If we reject again and we continue this downtrend of lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, we could reject here, lower high, and we could continue pushing down much, much further. Now, I don't think we are going to crash all the way down to $100.17. This is on Bybit, and if we look at XRP USD on Coinbase crashed down to 177, so quite a bit less. And we still are chopping within this descending channel. I talked about this descending channel on Friday's stream. We actually looked at potentially taking along from the bottom of the channel, and you can see we've moved up to the midline. But we could keep chopping within this channel until we come down to our golden pocket pulled from the crash lows to the dead cat bounce highs. You can see that golden pocket coming in around 207 to 210. And even down to the value area low again around 201. I'm not interested in anything on XRP here. Just forming the small range. So if we pull, let me hide this range. And if we just look at this volume profile of the micro range that has happened since last Friday, we are at the value area high and we're at the channel midline. We are starting to reject from that. So we could see a move down to the value area low. Let's pull our Fibonacci from the lows on this last Friday, to the highs that we made today. You can see our golden pocket is coming in at your local range value area low. And if we reject the value area high, you do have a high probability of rotating down to your local value area low. We have some internal liquidity resting there from Sunday's lows. And remember, weekend lows often get taken out. So that Sunday low there into your value area low and golden pocket would be a scalp long opportunity for me on XRP. That would be between 232 and 231, let's say. We break above the channel midline. I do think we can continue pushing up to the top of the channel at about 283 to 286. And if we pull a volume profile, not a volume profile, a Fibonacci retracement, and we have to look at this. That was more than a 30% crash, so we're going to take this golden pocket. We're going to put it on log scale. All right, we've already hit the golden pocket. Let's look at our 786 then. Yeah, the 786 would be near the top of the channel. By the time we get up there, that 786 would be near the top of the channel. So if we can break above this local value area high and midline, then we might continue pushing up to take a local liquidity, come back down, back test the channel, and then work our way up to the top of the channel at like 281.8. And that for me could be a nice short if we are going to continue kind of pushing down until we then get to your golden pocket area. But we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll keep that tracked as we make the videos and the live streams every single week. I'm not very interested in local trades right now on altcoins, kind of waiting to see what Bitcoin is going to do. But lastly, we'll go into Chainlink here. Chainlink is actually getting a nice rise today. And you can see, once again, these pitchfork bands, guys, I say this all the time on my channel, but you often see ranges that form in and around the pitchfork bands. So this is a larger pitchfork. You can see that we're forming a range. After the crash, we're forming a range inside that pitchfork band. But what is bullish on Chainlink here is we have been able to reclaim that pitchfork band. And earlier today, we came down and back tested the VWAP and the top of the pitchfork band, and we're holding above it. And if you remember, I've been saying for all last week, the key back test on Chainlink was that 20.7K value area high of our macro range. This range goes back to March of 2023, so a couple years. Was it March of 2023? Let's see. November of 2023, excuse me. So almost 2 years long. And now that we're starting to form a range underneath the value area low, could show acceptance back inside the volume profile. Very similar to what I talked about with Solana forming its range underneath its 201 value area high. And if we do find acceptance, I expect to move down to the POC, which is at $14. And that will be a very, very key area of support for me because it's the bottom of the pitchfork. And if we reject the range here in the pitchfork band, then you can expect to move to the bottom of the pitchfork where your large range POC is as well. But right now, Chainlink is looking pretty bullish. We're getting back above that pitchfork band, and we did front run the bearish backtest of that key value area high last week on the dead cat bounce. So there's for me, it's actually kind of likely that Chainlink does continue pushing up here, taking out your dead cat bounce highs from last week into the value area high at 20.7. And for me, that would be an area to look for a potential short, or if you're long on Chainlink, to look for a TP from that area, because you can see we would have a nice SFP at 20.2 into that 20.7 resistance. Then if we look at just very locally from the last 4-hour high to the low, golden pocket is right there as well. So local resistance above, I would say 20.4 to 20.7. Potential short opportunity. Actually, I'm going to set an alert here because that might be really nice to look at. But that's about it. Now, if we do reject from this 20.7, it's almost guaranteed that we're going to move down to our large range POC, which is at 14.3. And it's also near the bottom of the pitchfork, which is at like 13.8. It would take out the liquidity from the crash lows into that POC in the bottom of the pitchfork. And at this area, I would be looking for swing longs and spot buy opportunities. If we can get back above 20.7, then our next resistance is that 22 to 22.4 area. And then I would expect a small rejection from there to backtest 20.7 and continue pushing up here, really up to our next box around $26. Chainlink overall is looking a little bit more bullish than some of the other coins as far as the reaction that we're seeing from Friday's lows, from this last Friday's lows. And we're coming up close to the range highs, which is nice to see. So I'll keep you guys updated. If you got anything out of this video, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. I will be live tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you there. Have a good night.